Every time you check your phone, a piece of your peace is taken away. A notification buzzes, and suddenly your mind is hijacked. You scroll, compare, and react. You feel anxious, not good enough, and addicted to approval. But what if I told you the solution to this stress has been known for over 2,000 years? The ancient Stoics lived without likes, shares, or follows. Yet they mastered something much greater: serenity amid chaos. They taught that freedom isn't in avoiding stress, but in controlling your mind. Imagine applying their timeless wisdom to our digital world and reclaiming your life. In this video, we'll explore 10 powerful Stoic strategies that'll help you escape social media stress, reset your mindset, and reclaim your time. Whether you're battling burnout, struggling with low self-esteem, or simply seeking greater clarity, this journey into Stoic discipline will empower you to reclaim control. Number 1, reclaim your attention. Like Marcus Aurelius, your attention isn't just a resource, it's a valuable asset. It is your life. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your destiny is shaped. Yet today, your attention is scattered across 1,000 flashing screens. Social media has become a battlefield, and your mind is the prize. Every scroll, every like, every algorithm is designed to fracture your focus, addict you to the noise, and steal the stillness that fuels true greatness. However, the Stoics understood the importance of inner control long before smartphones existed. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman Empire's ruler and a student of Stoic philosophy, faced distractions of a different kind: war, politics, and betrayal. Yet he wrote in his journal, "You must reclaim your time and guard your mind against intrusions." These words, written amid chaos, resonate more powerfully than ever in our overstimulated digital age. Social media thrives on your subconscious habits. It pulls you into endless cycles of comparison, outrage, and validation seeking, a treadmill that never stops. But Marcus understood the truth. You can't lead your life if you can't lead your mind. He trained himself to observe his impulses, question his distractions, and continually return to what mattered most: clarity, virtue, and presence. Reclaiming your attention today is an act of rebellion. It's the modern equivalent of mastering the art of war, a battle for your mind. It begins by noticing the small moments. When you pick up your phone, not out of necessity, but to avoid something. It starts when you pause before clicking, scrolling, or reacting. That pause, that is power. That is presence. That is the Stoic spirit awakening within you. Don't just turn off notifications. Raise awareness. Don't just delete an app. Claim sovereignty over your soul. Start each morning not by checking what the world demands from you, but by asking yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? Because every time you give in to mindless scrolling, you weaken yourself. But every time you resist, you strengthen your will and develop the focus that builds empires. Stoic discipline doesn't mean abandoning technology. It means using it without letting it control you. It involves grounding yourself so deeply in your values that no external noise can drown out your inner voice. Your attention is sacred. It acts as the gatekeeper of your potential. So reclaim it, guard it, and direct it like Marcus Aurelius would. Not toward validation or distraction, but toward excellence. Because the world doesn't need another distracted mind. It needs a focused soul. Number 2, practice voluntary disconnection. Imagine standing still while the whole world scrolls past. Everyone is racing for likes, chasing views, drowning in updates. But you disconnect. You step back. You choose silence over noise, solitude over validation, reality over illusion. This is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. This is voluntary disconnection. And it's a Stoic superpower in the digital age. The Stoics taught one principle above all else: control what you can and let go of what you cannot. But here's the truth most won't tell you. You can't control social media. You can't control its speed, its chaos, or its need to keep you hooked. What you can control is your response to it, your relationship with it, and that begins with intentionally choosing to disconnect. Not forever, not dramatically, but regularly, strategically, intentionally. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." In our time, mastering yourself means controlling your impulses to check, refresh, and scroll every spare second. It's about learning to sit with stillness and listen to your thoughts, even when they feel uncomfortable, because true clarity only comes when the noise fades. Start small. Take a 10-minute walk without your phone. Have a morning without checking messages. Spend a weekend afternoon letting the world move on without your input. It may feel odd at first, even scary. Why? Because you've been conditioned to think that being constantly connected means you're in control. But it's the opposite. The more you cling to the feed, the more it controls you. Voluntary disconnection is an act of self-respect. It's not about being antisocial. It's about being intentionally mindful. It's about making space to think, breathe, and reflect. It's about understanding that your mind was never meant to soak up the emotions of a million strangers every day. The ancient Stoics retreated into nature, their journals and stillness, not because they disliked people, but because they understood that solitude strengthens the soul. When you disconnect from the world, you reconnect with yourself. You discover who you are without the filter, without the pressure, and without the need to perform. And here's the miracle. Once you make this practice a habit, you start to see the world differently. You respond instead of react. You focus instead of fumbling. You become calm, not chaotic. In a world that rewards constant availability, choose sacred absence. In a culture that worships speed, choose the quiet power of pause. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can say to the world is nothing at all. You unplug and walk away, not to escape, but to elevate. Number 3, observe, don't react. In a world that thrives on instant reactions, the Stoic chooses stillness. Social media trains us to react automatically. A post shows up, you like it. A comment hits you, you snap back. A headline angers you, you share it instantly. This isn't authentic engagement, it's conditioning, and it takes away your most precious power, the ability to choose how you respond. The Stoics mastered the gap, the sacred space between stimulus and response. They understood that a person's strength is not measured by how quickly they react, but by how deeply they observe before acting. Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And this is precisely what social media exploits. It feeds your imagination with half-truths, triggers, and illusions, then dares you to react. But the Stoic warrior doesn't fall for the trap. He pauses, he watches, he studies, and only then does he respond, if at all. To observe is to rise above. When you choose to observe instead of react, you take back control over your emotions. You start to see clearly not every opinion warrants your outrage, not every comment requires a reply, and not every trend is worth your energy. Imagine scrolling through your feed, not just as a participant, but as a philosopher. You watch, you analyze, you learn, but you don't lose yourself in the noise. This is how you build emotional resilience. This is how you rise above the chaos that consumes others. It's not detachment, it's discernment. And the more you practice, the stronger your mind becomes. A rude message no longer ruins your day. A controversial post no longer disrupts your peace. You become unshakable because you've trained your mind to observe first and act from wisdom, not impulse. Here's your challenge. The next time you feel that fiery urge to reply, argue, or defend your ego, stop. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Does this serve my higher self? If the answer is no, walk away and walk tall. Because silence, when rooted in strength, is not weakness, it is mastery. The modern world needs fewer reactors and more thinkers, fewer emotional puppets and more stoic leaders. Be the one who chooses clarity over chaos. Be the one who breaks the cycle of digital drama. Observe, reflect, then move with intention. That is the Stoic way. And that is how you become untouchable in a world addicted to reactivity. Number 4, embrace the discipline of control. Control. It's the one thing the Stoics valued more than comfort, convenience, or even pleasure. Not control over others, but mastery over the one thing that truly matters, yourself. In the chaos of social media, where millions crave attention, share their highlight reels, and react impulsively, control becomes a rare and valued virtue. The world tempts you to respond instantly, to compare endlessly, to get lost in digital drama. But the Stoic remains unfazed. He stays grounded, focused, disciplined. Epictetus said it best, "Some things are up to us and some things are not." You cannot control the comments people leave. You cannot control the posts that trend. You cannot control the algorithm. But you can control how you engage, how you respond, and most importantly, how you let it affect your peace. This is where the discipline begins. Discipline means not grabbing your phone every 5 minutes out of boredom. It means not letting a stranger's opinion control your emotions. It means stopping your pursuit of validation through fleeting metrics and instead grounding your self-worth in timeless values, courage, wisdom, and self-respect. Control isn't about strict rules. It's about making powerful choices. It's about saying no to digital addiction, not because you have to, but because you're building something greater, your inner fortress. Try this. Before you open an app, ask yourself, why am I doing this? Is it out of habit or intention? Is it because I'm avoiding something uncomfortable, or because I'm choosing to connect meaningfully? The Stoics believed in training the will, just like a warrior trains his sword. They knew that the most brutal battles are internal. In today's world, digital self-control is one of the most significant forms of modern Stoicism. Every moment you resist the urge to check, scroll, or react, you build strength. You become sharper, more focused, and more alive. You start to control not just your phone, but your mind, your emotions, and your reality. And here's the truth. A person who can control themselves cannot be controlled by anyone else, not by public opinion, not by peer pressure, not by likes, shares, or views. You become the master, while everyone else remains a butler to the master. So, train yourself not with punishment, but with purpose. Turn your focus inward. Cultivate awareness. Practice daily self-control. And remind yourself, discipline isn't a prison. It's a way to find freedom. This is your power, your peace, your edge. And the more you wield it, the less the world can shake you. Number 5, cultivate inner silence through digital boundaries. In a world that never stops talking, silence has become a superpower. Every second, your phone screams for your attention. Notifications ping, messages pile up, timelines refresh. But here's the truth. Without boundaries, your mind becomes a battlefield, one where your peace is the casualty. The Stoics understood the power of silence. They knew that a chaotic life results in a chaotic mind, which can't see, think deeply, or live freely. Therefore, they intentionally created silence, deliberately and with purpose. In today's digital age, silence doesn't come easily. You have to create it. That means establishing boundaries so firm that even your distractions avoid them. Boundaries with your screen. Boundaries with your time. Boundaries with your energy. It starts simple. Silence your notifications. Not just your phone, but also your soul. You don't need to be available 24/7. You aren't required to answer every message immediately. You don't have to absorb the endless stream of digital noise that floods your mind daily. You were not born to react. You were born to reflect. Inner silence isn't about escaping life. It's about grounding yourself in it. It's about stepping away from the noise so you can hear the quiet voice inside, the one that reminds you of who you are, what matters, and what kind of life you want to create. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his soul." But you can't reach that inner sanctuary if you're constantly plugged into the chaos. So build your retreat, protect it, make time for solitude, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. Here's a Stoic challenge for modern life. Set digital fasting hours, 1 hour a day, 1 evening a week, 1 weekend a month. No scrolling, no feeds, no noise. Just you, your thoughts, your breath, your life. You'll be amazed at what you discover in that silence. You'll remember what it feels like to be present fully, completely. You'll think more clearly, sleep more deeply, and live more intentionally. Silence is where your strength is forged. It's where resilience is born. It's where you finally escape the opinions of the crowd and come face to face with your truth. So create inner silence, not just once, but as a daily discipline. Because peace doesn't come from turning off the world, it comes from building boundaries that allow your soul to breathe. The more silence you create, the more power you reclaim. And in that silence, you'll find everything you were looking for. Number 6, prioritize value over performance. In the age of social media, life has become a performance. Every photo is posed, every caption is crafted, and every moment is curated to impress an invisible audience. Yet, behind the filter, many feel empty, anxious, and disconnected because they're living for attention instead of living with purpose. The Stoics would call this madness. To them, presence was sacred. They believed the only worthwhile life was one in which you were genuinely present, not staged or projected, not performed, but fully experienced here and now with clarity and purpose. Seneca warned, "While we waste our time hesitating and postponing, life is slipping away." And today, We waste our time trying to prove we're living rather than living. But here's the truth. Life doesn't happen on a screen. It happens in your breath, your steps, your stillness, and in the quiet, unshared moments that no one else sees, but that shape your soul. You don't need to document every moment to make it real. You don't need likes to make it meaningful. Your worth is not a performance. It is a presence. Every time you reach for your phone to capture the moment, ask yourself, am I truly experiencing this or just showing it off? Chasing applause can turn a person into a stranger to themselves. But someone grounded in presence, they become unshakable. The Stoics practiced mindfulness without using apps or reminders. They trained themselves to be fully alert in everything they did, to eat slowly, walk intentionally, think deeply, and speak only when needed. This wasn't detachment, it was freedom. Freedom from comparison, freedom from validation, freedom from the pressure to perform. Imagine walking through a forest and not feeling the need to post about it. Imagine having a conversation without worrying about how to quote it online. Imagine being with your family, friends, or even alone, and not feeling the urge to prove it happened. That is power. Because while everyone else is busy performing a life, the Stoic is busy living one. Choose presence over performance. Focus on feeling more than flaunting. Listen more than you speak. Enjoy more than you edit. Let your moments belong to you, not the feed. You're not here to impress everyone. You're here to live authentically in it. And when your presence becomes more compelling than your performance, something incredible occurs. You stop chasing attention and begin radiating authenticity. And in that moment, you don't just free yourself from social media stress. You reclaim your life. Number 7, master the art of negative visualization. Modern culture tends to avoid discomfort like the plague. It pursues pleasure, positivity, and perfection, especially on social media where everything looks flawless and everyone seems to be winning. But the Stoics, they did the opposite. They practiced negative visualization, deliberately imagining loss, chaos, and adversity, not to foster pessimism, but to build resilience. Here's the truth. Social media creates a false reality. It makes you believe everyone is living their dream life while you're just getting by. It fuels envy, insecurity, and the toxic illusion that happiness depends on what you have, how you look, or who notices you. But Stoicism cuts through that illusion like a blade. Marcus Aurelius, in the quiet of his thoughts, reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He wasn't obsessed with death. He was obsessed with clarity, with urgency. He lived fully because he had trained himself to accept the worst-case scenario and act boldly in spite of it. Negative visualization shows you this. What if you lost the things you currently take for granted? Your health, your peace, your time, your loved ones? What if you lost access to comfort, convenience, and the luxuries of digital life? Would you crumble, or would you rise with gratitude, knowing that you've been living in abundance all along? You see, by imagining what could be taken, you learn to value what you already have. You scroll less, you compare less, you become grounded in what's genuine and resilient in the face of change. Instead of fearing uncertainty, the Stoic embraces it, calm, prepared, and resilient. Next time you feel anxious while scrolling through someone else's success story, do this. Pause, close your eyes, Imagine losing something you've taken for granted, your freedom, your breath, your voice. Then open your eyes again. Notice the stillness. That's not fear. That's power. That's presence. Social media encourages you to avoid pain. Stoicism teaches you to transform it. Negative visualization doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It trains your mind to stop craving more and start respecting what is. It reminds you that nothing is promised and that everything you treasure is on loan from the universe. Once you master this skill, you cease to fear loss and begin to fear wasting your life. You stop scrolling through other people's highlights and start writing your own story with purpose and pride. So, visualize loss, not to depress yourself, but to ignite your spirit, to remind yourself life is precious, time is limited, and the most powerful thing you can do with it is live it with eyes wide open. Number 8, use timeless virtues instead of likes as your metric. In today's world, your worth is measured by likes, views, and followers, fleeting numbers that rise and fall like tides. One day, you're praised, next, you're ignored. It's a roller coaster of dopamine highs and crushing lows, and if you let it, it will define you. But the Stoics teach a different path, a higher path, one that's immune to the metrics of the masses. They ask a simple question: are you living with virtue? Not. Are you popular? Not. Did your post go viral? But did you act with courage today? With wisdom? With discipline? With justice? You see, social media celebrates spectacle. Stoicism values substance. The world may cheer the loudest voice, the flashiest image, or the biggest flex. But the Stoic knows true strength is quiet. It's built in silence, forged through hardship, and judged not by applause, but by character. Seneca wrote, "What you think of yourself is much more important than what others think of you." Let that sink in. Because if you chase the crowd's approval, you will be forever lost in the crowd. But if you live by your compass, grounded in timeless values, you will never be shaken no matter how loud the world gets. Ask yourself, what do I truly value? Is it honesty, even when it's not popular? Is it consistency, even when no one is watching? Is it humility in a world obsessed with self-promotion? Is it self-mastery in a culture addicted to indulgence? The Stoic doesn't look for outside approval. He aims for inner harmony. And when your measure of success becomes virtue instead of virality, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of online life. You share what truly matters. You speak when necessary. You act with purpose. And you sleep peacefully because you're no longer chasing shadows. Here's your new metric. How often did I stay calm under pressure? How often did I resist temptation? How often did I choose courage over comfort? That is your scoreboard. And when you live by it, something powerful happens. You become untouchable. You become someone who doesn't just exist online, but someone who lives a meaningful life offline. You stop competing with strangers and start collaborating with your higher self. You stop asking, did they like me? And start asking, was I honorable? Set your standard, make it timeless and unshakable. Because in a world obsessed with metrics, the Stoic stands apart, grounded, focused, and free. And while the world keeps scrolling, you keep rising. Number 9, create a fortress of solitude. The modern world is loud. Social media constantly brings noise. Voices shouting, images flashing, opinions clashing. And if you don't make space to retreat, reflect, and recharge, the chaos will take over you. This is why you must create a fortress of solitude, not just to escape the world, but to rediscover yourself within it. The Stoics understood this well. They weren't hermits or antisocial. They were warriors of the mind. And every warrior needs a place to sharpen their blade, away from distraction, noise, and the crowd. Marcus Aurelius ruled the largest empire on earth, yet every night he returned to his journal. Amid war, betrayal, politics, and pressure, he made time to be alone with his thoughts, not to isolate, but to align, not to disconnect from duty, but to reconnect with purpose. This is your challenge today. In a world that constantly invades your mind through glowing screens, you must protect your peace like a sacred temple. That doesn't mean deleting everything. It means creating intentional space, mental, emotional, digital. Solitude is not emptiness. It is presence without pressure. It's where your most authentic thoughts surface, where your best ideas are born, and where your most profound clarity is found. Because only in stillness can you hear the voice within. Ask yourself, when was the last time I sat in silence? Not scrolling or reacting, just sitting, breathing, being. For most people, silence is frightening because it reveals the parts of themselves they've hidden beneath noise. But for the Stoic, silence is a refuge. It is the place where discipline is built, where purpose is refined, and where peace takes root. So, construct your fortress. Wake up before the noise starts. Journal during the quiet hours. Take walks without using your phone. Create rituals that are uniquely yours, moments that no one observes, but that influence who you are. And inside that fortress, remind yourself of your mission, not meant to be seen or followed, instead, to be anchored, to live a life filled with meaning, focus, and freedom. Social media will tempt you with distractions, but your fortress will remind you of the truth. In solitude, you don't lose connection, you strengthen it. The more time you spend building your inner world, the less dependent you become on the outer world. And when you come out of that solitude, clear, calm, unshaken, you won't seek validation. You will carry your peace. You will move through chaos like a mountain in the storm. You will be untouchable. Number 10, live intentionally, not for validation. The biggest tragedy of modern life isn't distraction. It's living for applause instead of purpose. Social media has turned our lives into a stage, and too many are performing instead of truly living. Every post is designed for approval. Every decision is shaped by what will get the most likes. In the pursuit of validation, we lose something far more critical, ourselves. However, the Stoics lived intentionally. They didn't act for praise. They didn't speak for popularity. They didn't follow public opinion. They lived aligned with their principles, whether the world was watching or not. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about that. We distort ourselves into shapes we dislike to impress strangers, chasing a feeling that never lasts. It's a hollow cycle, because no amount of likes can replace self-respect, no viral moment can replace inner fulfillment, and no trend is worth trading your soul. To live deliberately means to choose your actions based on reason, not reaction. It means waking up with intention, not just to be seen, but to be true. It means stopping the chase for applause and starting to build a legacy. You don't need permission to live a meaningful life. You don't need a following to walk your path. What you need is the courage to define success on your terms. What you need is the clarity to say, I will live by my values, not by trends. I will move with purpose, not popularity. I will live for something greater than likes. The Stoics understood validation is fragile, but virtue, that endures. Validation is external, but discipline, courage, and wisdom, that's true inner strength. So start asking different questions, not will they like me, but will I respect myself after this? Not does this get attention, but does this build character? Every choice you make is a brick in the wall. You're either building a life that reflects who you are or one that conceals your true self. And the more intentional you become, the less approval you need. Live like the Stoics, calm, focused, assertive. Walk your path, not for applause from others, but because it is right. Because the most incredible freedom isn't in being liked, it's in being whole. And once you decide to live deliberately, you won't need applause. You'll be too busy building something real. Conclusion: break free, rise higher. You've just explored 10 powerful Stoic strategies, not just ideas, but tools for clarity, armor for the mind, and blueprints for freedom. The truth is, you were never meant to be controlled by digital noise. You were born to live with focus, strength, and depth, and Stoicism provides you with that map, a way out, a way up. Now the question is, will you apply it? A fundamental change begins when philosophy turns into action, when knowledge becomes a practice, and when silence becomes a source of strength. Don't just listen and nod. Live it. Reclaim your focus like Marcus Aurelius. Practice intentional disconnection. Observe without reacting. Embrace discipline. Set your standards. Build your fortress. And above all, live intentionally, with purpose, not just for performance. In a world that benefits from your distraction, staying grounded is a form of rebellion. In a culture obsessed with validation, choosing virtue is revolutionary. So make that choice today. If this message inspired you, if you're ready to get off the treadmill of likes and embrace a life of purpose, mastery, and peace of mind, this is your moment. Subscribe to this channel right now, because here we don't chase trends, we build strength. We don't perform for the world, we transform ourselves. One Stoic strategy at a time. Break free from the stress. Live anchored, live powerfully, live deliberately. This is your journey, and it's only just beginning.